High risk. I'm talking about Elon Musk. Is he still worth betting on with all his troubles? This New York Times interview where they really get into a guy who is admitting that it's been a pressure city this past year, one of his worst years ever. Then there's the whole Ambien thing and whether he's got his act together, has got serious problems, and whether he should even be running the company, whether he should be at the company. To United Capital CEO Joe Duran. Joe, the stock is getting pummeled, and I'm wondering where this all goes. What do you think?
Well, I think there's two things that, first there was the tweet that really obviously he would take back, I think, where he created an environment where the SEC has to look because he's made it sound as if he was promising that there was a privatization about to happen. A lot of people got hurt in that transaction. The second thing, and probably more concerning, and why the stock is down so much, is the question of whether he has good enough people around him. The fact that he's working that hard would suggest that either he doesn't trust the people that work for him or he doesn't trust delegation, and that causes concern that the whole business is relying on one human being working 120 hours a week to the point of exhaustion and ignoring his 5 children. And again, it's clearly wearing on him. The thread of the interview was one of, I thought the reporters did a very good job of capturing. Absolutely. It was not a judgmental, you know, they were very empathetic in their writing, but all I thought was, as a CEO and founder of a company, that says that he doesn't trust his people. And if I'm an investor in the company and the founder doesn't trust his people, there's a problem. And the board has a responsibility. Even his brother, who's on the board, as a concerned brother, should be saying, you need to be happy because you are brilliant.
You need to be
but you
happy.
have to have people that you can trust.
Yeah. But
so,
I always wonder, yeah, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but as you know, I played one on TV, and I have a crackpot theory on this, and it applies to the president who expresses surprise when he bashes the press is unfair to him, and it's a cycle. I understand how that goes. Don't be surprised that if you trip and stumble, the media is going to take it way out of proportion, and there you go. Do not be surprised then in the case of Elon Musk when you start ripping analysts on conference calls and calling them idiots and all, but just humiliating them, that they're not going to chomp at the bit to go after you when you stumble like this. And sure enough, they're chomping at the bit to go after you. Now, he has given them plenty of ammunition. I'm not comparing the two men beyond just that. But is it karma coming back to haunt him here?
I think it is. You know, Kanye West is another great example of a brilliant person who's created things and doesn't know. Again, there's a shred of artistry and genius in some of these people. And again, the question, though, as the CEO of a company is, are the people around you good enough, and are you doing what's best for the company, or are you blurring the lines between yourself and the responsibilities you have as the CEO of a company? I face this every day. You know, what I want to do might not be what is best for the firm.
But think about that. Think about what you're saying there. Now, I think he is a genius. He's the Thomas Edison of our times. You know, I don't own any Tesla stock. I'm not here. I don't own a car and that. But he's a genius. And some geniuses we know, and I've covered them through the years. I've had the pleasure of talking to Steve Jobs when he was alive many, many times, and Bill Gates in the early days of Microsoft, and Paul Allen in the early days of Microsoft. But you know, they're not wired like a lot of people. They're just very, very different. Now, some can call him erratic, moody, irascible, all of the above. But he is very much synonymous with Tesla to me. So if he is somehow kicked out or pushed out, can Tesla itself still be a draw? What do you think?
No. For the same reason, the difference between the people you've outlined and Jeff Bezos is they had really strong number twos and really good people around them.
Good point.
And so there was a succession plan. It was institutionalized genius. And they knew how to take advantage of his brilliance, all of their brilliance, and there are women in the same situation who also are surrounded by people who encourage and let them be brilliant, but still allow a company to have deliberate decision-making and more than one person in charge of all the responsibility. And what you'll see in all the names you mentioned, whether it's Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos or any of these other brilliant changers of the universe, is that they have great number twos and threes and fours and an institutional culture where everybody shares responsibility. I don't know that Tesla's there yet. It's still very much reliant on a cult of personality, how most companies start, by the way. but they have to spread out and bring in brilliant people that you can trust.
You're right.
So that you can continue to be brilliant, you know.
All right. I just hope you have a strong number too, Joe, because I associate United Capital with you.
I have a whole team of brilliant people.
There you go. All right. Thank you, my friend. Always good chatting. All right, when we come back, the record number of 401k millionaires, let's hope you're one of them. Now what? After this.